Level 1. The heir apparent. You are the only child. Your family's name is on a library, a hospital wing, and a street 2 towns over. Everyone at the funeral keeps looking at you instead of the casket. You are 24 years old, and you just became responsible for 4 generations of money, land, and expectation, with no siblings to share the weight, and no manual for how to carry it. Your grandmother's lawyer hands you a folder an inch thick. You haven't opened it yet. You go home to the house you grew up in. It suddenly feels different, like a museum you now own, but have never actually toured. You sit at the kitchen table and open the folder. Trusts, deeds, a list of foundation board seats with your name already typed into them. Nobody asked you if you wanted this. Wanting was never part of the arrangement. You were born into a current, and now you're expected to swim in the direction it's already flowing.
Level 2. The steward. They call it the family office, which sounds like a place, but it's actually 11 people whose entire job is managing what you were handed. A woman named Patricia has worked for your family longer than you've been alive. She explains generation-skipping trusts, dynasty trusts, and something called a family constitution, a document written decades before you were born that dictates how money can leave the family and under what conditions. You nod like you understand. You understand about 40% of it. You learn the actual number for the first time, not the folklore number your cousins whisper about at holidays, the real one, audited, specific, sitting in a room with 3 advisors watching your face for a reaction. You don't give them one. You've been trained since childhood not to react to money in front of people, even when the number is loud enough to change how you breathe. Level 3. The debutante. You are presented to society at 18. This part happened before the funeral, before any of the responsibility was real. A man in a bow tie says your full name into a microphone, first, middle, last, and the family name everyone in the room already recognizes. You are not being introduced. You are being verified. Old friends of your grandmother watch you cross the ballroom floor and take mental notes on your posture, your composure, whether you carry the name well. You learn the unwritten rules quickly because the written ones don't exist. Which fork, which clubs, which last names are old enough to matter, and which ones, despite the money behind them, will never quite be old enough. You learn that new money is not an insult about wealth. It's an insult about time. Nothing you do can make your family older. That fact will follow you into every room for the rest of your life. Level 4. The custodian. The estate needs you now. Not metaphorically, actually. 11 staff members. A 200-year-old roof that costs more to maintain than most people's houses cost to buy. You spend a Tuesday afternoon in a meeting about slate versus copper because the wrong choice could compromise the historical registry status your great-grandfather fought to secure. You didn't grow up wanting to know about slate. You know about it now. You inherit relationships along with the property. The groundskeeper's family has worked this land for 3 generations, same as yours has owned it. He calls you by your first name because he watched you learn to walk on this lawn. You realize slowly that the people who know you best are the people your family pays. That thought sits with you longer than you expect it to. Level 5. The philanthropist. Giving becomes a job with quarterly deadlines. Your foundation distributes $11 million a year, and you sit on a board that decides where it goes. At first, it feels meaningful. You fund a wing at the children's hospital your grandmother started giving 50 years ago. The local paper writes about your continued commitment to the community. You did not personally decide the amount. Patricia's team ran the numbers before you walked into the room. The requests multiply within weeks. Every institution in the state knows your name is attached to money now. Galas fill your calendar. Strangers write you letters describing specific, real suffering, expecting you specifically, by name, to fix it. You help who you can. You learn, the way every person with money before you has learned, that no foundation, however well-funded, can absorb the full weight of what the world is asking.
Level 6. The dynast. You get married, not entirely to a person, also, quietly, to a family. Lawyers draft a prenuptial agreement 60 pages long before either of you says a word about the wedding itself. It's not romantic. It's also not optional. Your family has watched fortunes get halved in divorces before, and they are not going to watch it happen to this one. You sign it. Your fiancé signs it. You both pretend the signing didn't happen the way it happened. You have children because the line requires continuation, and also because you want them. Both things are true at once, and you spend years trying to separate the two motives and never quite manage it. You watch your own mother's careful, distant parenting style live inside your hands sometimes when you're not paying attention. You promise yourself you'll do it differently. You are not always sure you are succeeding.
Level 7. The gatekeeper. Someone tries to marry into your family for the wrong reasons. You can tell within one dinner. Your sister-in-law's fiancé asks careful questions about the trust structure, disguised as small talk. Your family has a name for people like this. They've had a name for this exact situation for over a century, which tells you something about how often it happens. You quietly commission a background check before the engagement is even announced. Nobody discusses that this happened. Everybody understands that it did. You become the person who says no. No to the cousin who wants an early distribution to fund a business that will fail in 14 months. No to the in-law who wants a loan disguised as a gift. Saying no costs you relationships you actually valued. And you never fully learn to feel good about it, even when the numbers prove you were right every single time.
Level 8. The isolated. Your friendships have thinned without you deciding to let them. Not dramatically, gradually, the way erosion works. You picked up every check for a decade before you noticed nobody was offering to split one anymore. Dating became a calculation you never asked for. Does this person know? And if they know, does it change anything? And if it doesn't change anything, is that itself a kind of performance you can't fully trust either? You go to therapy, which your family, 3 generations ago, would have considered an admission of weakness. Your therapist charges $400 an hour and is worth every cent. Because she is one of exactly 4 people in your life who is not, in some structural way, financially entangled with you. You realize slowly that you are surrounded by people who are paid to be near you and people who need something from you. And it is genuinely hard to tell some days which category someone new falls into.
Level 9. The elder. Your children are grown now. One of them wants nothing to do with the family businesses and moved across the country to build something entirely her own. You feel pride about this. You're not fully allowed to voice at family dinners. Your other child wants everything, wants the board seats, the trust structure explained in full, wants to start proving himself years before anyone is ready to let him. You recognize both instincts. You had both instincts once, at different points, and never fully resolved which one was really you. You start the succession planning your own grandmother started with you, decades ago, in this same kitchen. You understand now why she looked the way she looked, handing you that folder. It wasn't reluctance, it was recognition. She was watching the weight move from her hands to yours, and she knew, better than you could have then, exactly how heavy it actually was. Level 10. The ancestor. You are gone. The obituary runs the family name first, and your own name second, which feels correct in a way you couldn't have articulated while you were alive. The library wing gets a new plaque. The foundation continues, run now by people who never met you, guided by a mission statement you wrote in a boardroom decades before your death. Your grandchild sits in a lawyer's office, same office, different lawyer, but somehow the same energy, the same inch-thick folder. She is 24. She doesn't fully understand yet what she's holding. She will spend years learning the trusts, the codes, the unwritten rules, the cost of the name she was given without ever being asked if she wanted it. Somewhere else, right now, a family with 3 generations of new money is having the exact same funeral for the exact same reasons. Doing all of this for the very first time. Believing, the way every family believes at the beginning, that money is the part that's hard to get, and the rest, somehow, will simply follow. The system continues.